back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, especially when I was a kid. As an adult, I kind of went back and forth on it, but I saw it again recently and started to like it more and more again. It's a movie where, I used to like it a lot when it first came out. Later, it kind of dropped for me, and then now it's gone back up again because I've seen it recently. I'm talking about Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. I like this movie. I think it's really, really one of the best Friday the 13th to me, in my opinion. I think the pacing is one of the reasons. I think the pacing is not slow. I think Friday the 13th, Part 6, well, 3, 4, and 6, like I've said on some of my other videos, are always fighting for my top spot. And then also, a couple of the other ones have risen in my mind over the years. The remake, a 2009 remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, with Derek Mears, that has gone up. When it first came out, I liked parts of it. Other parts really irritated me, and I was kind of mad about certain things in it. But over time, I've gotten used to it and actually liked it more, and that's gone up. Especially the first like 20, 30 minutes of that film was, first 15, 20 minutes of that film was really good. But Friday the 13th, Part 7 has always been one of my favorites. And originally, I believe they wanted Freddy versus Jason back then to take place, but they couldn't put it together. They couldn't do it for some reason. So they made Jason versus Carrie, but they didn't call her Carrie. Her name's Tina. And I think the character of Tina is really, really good, actually. And I think it's well done. I think this movie is well done. You have Tina, who's an outcast, kind of like Jason. Jason was an outcast as a kid. She's an outcast because of her powers, and she's kept to herself, I imagine. And in her own way, she's an outcast, but she's a person who has a good heart, a very beautiful person, and a person who is basically, where Jason's on the side of darkness, she's on the side of light in this movie, the way it's portrayed. And Jason is not as evil as Freddy, because Freddy has everything up here. Freddy's a very maniacal, smart villain, clever villain. Jason was a child with a disability. Jason was a victim in his own way and became a brutal killer. So he's evil because of what he does, but he's not as evil as Freddy, because Freddy knows more. Has more knowledge of what he's doing. Tina, she had a tragic time with her powers and controlling it. She killed her dad in the movie because her dad was abusive. He's an alcoholic, abusive, and they don't really explore his character a whole lot. I'm suspecting he had good parts of him. The way the movie is presented seems like her father had good aspects to him too. That's one of the reasons she cried and one of the reasons she missed him. But when he drank, he became awful. So it seems like he was a character, at least my take on the movie, because I've seen it so many times when I was a kid, recently saw it again. He was a character who had good parts, but also some very bad parts. What he did to his family, especially when he drank, I think that kind of explains why she felt so sorry when she realized he really was dead and he wasn't going to come back. And there's, at the end, there's an interesting reveal and twist. A couple of them, actually, I think. To me, this is a fast-paced movie, but not too fast, but it's a good pace. And it's one of my favorite Friday the 13th. The guy who plays Dr. Cruz, I think it's Terry Kaiser or Kaiser. He's funny. He's a and a good example of courage in this movie. Talk about taking the hit for the winning team. He made someone else take the hit for the losing team at least at that time, until Tina gets involved and straightens everything out, and good wins, starts to win. That's good. Most people have seen this movie. It's been out for years, and it's just, all my reviews are pretty much spoiler reviews. But I've seen him in other movies. He's a good actor. I've seen him in episodes of Texas Ranger. I've seen him in, I think he was the dead guy in Weekend at Bernie's, I think. I believe he was the dead guy in Weekend at Bernie's. I never seen it, but when I was a kid, I seen bits and pieces of it come on television. And he was also in a movie, I forgot the name of it, but it was about beach volleyball. And I think C. Thomas Howell was in there, and Terry Kaiser was in that. And he was the first thing I've ever seen him in, really, was An Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris, one of my very favorite Chuck Norris movies. He plays Chuck Norris's police partner in there. They're undercover. They get set up. I think his name is Dave, and he gets brutally killed in that movie. And Chuck Norris wants to find out what happened and avenge his death. That's really a good movie, An Eye for an Eye. But anyway, Terry Kaiser's in here. He plays Dr. Cruz, and he makes you really angry at him. What he does, the lies, the deception, and all that. And oh, it's an awful part too when he holds Tina's mother in front. It's just a horrible part, horrible character. When I was younger, my friend and I, we used to do some editing and and make it, try to twist things and make it actually funny and make fun of him and stuff when we were kids, because my hobby was, we did editing, and I had a pretty fair skill, I think decent skill with editing if I put my mind to it. So if I really wanted to get into the YouTube thing, I think I can make it bigger and bigger, get on all the social media things and do a lot of good work with the videos. But like I said in other videos, I'm a casual YouTuber trying to enjoy this. I'm trying not to be involved too deeply. I got other stuff going on in my life. And so, and by the way, please like and subscribe. And yeah, when he holds her up, that's awful. But for some reason, the way he did it, it just it's horrible. But anyway, when you're done cringing, could you please subscribe for me? Hit the maybe hit the thumbs up button and share this video so other people can see this fascinating content, this wonderful content. But all joking aside, I think this movie is well done. I think it's a very worthy addition to the Friday the 13th franchise. In fact, I think it's one of the best sequels. The look of Jason is quite good in here, really good. I think Kane Hodder does a really good job. You have Tina, obviously, with her telekinesis power. She can move objects. She fights Jason. The sequence between her fighting Jason and she has her powers. I only wish we would have gotten more of it. I enjoyed it so much where she was fighting him with her abilities that I wish we do get a good amount. Don't get me wrong, we do get a good amount in this film, but I actually enjoyed it so much I wish they'd do more. And it's Carrie against Jason. Just, she has a different name, different background. Her mother's totally different than Mrs. White in Carrie. And Mrs. White was such a good character and so pure and so friendly, gentle, and I'm making it up. She was crazy. She hurt her daughter a lot. Carrie was a very good movie. It's a movie that makes me very sad for Carrie. That was a different movie from this, but similar, because she has similar abilities to Carrie. And Carrie was an outcast too. Tina's an outcast. Carrie really was an outcast. She was treated horribly by her people at school, like the students, other students in school, treated bad by later by some of the adults later, treated horrible by her mother. And yeah, sad movie. Carrie was always, to me, it's got its scary moments in a way, but it's interesting, fascinating, and it's a movie that always made me sad. I always felt sorry for Carrie, and don't blame her at all for getting really angry at the end. I'm not saying every little thing was justified, but I'm saying you can understand it. Back to Friday the 13th 7, The New Blood, you have that aspect in here. Tina's a sympathetic character to me. I think she's pretty much does everything well in this movie, doesn't do anything really bad. typical slasher horror movie where the good girl survives, the final girl. It's got that original formula in here, but she has powers. She really fights back. She uses her powers pretty well. Just wish we would have got more of it. Other than that, I do think this is a solid sequel. It's one of my favorite Friday the 13th. I think it's very solid, interesting. I like the scenery. I think it has pretty much almost everything that a Friday the 13th fan would want. I heard there was an original version of this film that was actually more gory and it had more interesting, more brutal kills, which a lot of the Friday the 13th fans would have wanted to see, but they edit it down so much and it's not the same movie that it used to be from what I heard. But still, I think it's got some good scenes in here. It's got some interesting kills. Jason looks scary around the forest again in a wooded area. So I like it. I enjoy it. Yeah, most people have seen it, but if you haven't, I think you're in for a treat. And I think you'll like this one. I think you'll enjoy it. So take care, everybody. Have a good night and watch out for Jason.